We conclude our chapter on cooks and ski bums. Most of our ski bums came from families who could have picked up our mortgage as easily as buying a new pair of head skis. This was a comfortable feeling for us. There was never any worry about their quitting because they wanted more pay. In the early years at Ski Tip, they often worked for no more than room, board, and tips. Sometimes when they asked to work a season or a semester from school, they even offered to pay us. Then again, with their affluent upbringing, they couldn't understand why I objected to their filling the glasses to the brim with milk the second or third time. They did it even when the guests hadn't asked for more. I usually got back from ski school around 4 p.m. One day I came home to find the cook frantically unloading the shelves in the cooler. Edna, you've got ham on the menu, and there positively is none. I've searched everywhere. Well, I'll help you look, I told her, thinking that probably she looked right at it and hadn't seen it. We searched to no avail. Fortunately, we were able to substitute something else. I was really puzzled, though, as I knew I'd bought that ham and had unloaded it. All came to light the next morning. Arriving at ski school, I was told the cook over at the basin shelter wanted to see me. Whatever for, I wondered. Edna, she blasted at me as I came in the door. It's hard enough for me to make money on the lunches that I make in the middle of the week without having one of your ski bums sitting out there in the sun on the porch making ham sandwiches for all her friends, plus anyone else who wanted to join in. Ah, the light came on. Now I know what happened to that ham we were to have last night. I wondered if there's any bread, lettuce, mayonnaise, or mustard left. Assuring the cook up at the Arapaho shelter that it wouldn't happen again, I wondered how best to explain to our generous ski bum that Ski Tip couldn't afford to feed all the skiers up at Arapaho. Sometimes the ski bums would take over the entertainment of the guests in a most surprising way. One young girl loved dressing up so no one would recognize her. She would appear as another guest, arriving at the front door, luggage and all. She would then act out the role of a most obnoxious guest. Most everyone would soon catch on and enjoy her act. One time, however, our ski bum actress left our guests not too sure. The door from the kitchen into the living room was thrown open, and in walked a stocky figure, carrying a toilet plunger and wearing a hard hat and rubber boots. I stood up, wondering who was this mustached person. Just as I was about to ask him, he stated, "I'm the plumber." He looked around long enough to be sure he'd captured everyone's attention, and then announced, "Don't anyone flush a toilet for 3 days." Someone started to laugh. Suddenly, as the plumber laughed, we all knew who she was. We felt we had really arrived when Willie Schaeffler brought Stein Eriksen, the famous Norwegian Olympic skier, to the ski tip. He was at the area for the ski instructors meeting. Since all the examiners stayed at the ski tip, the parties were held there in the evenings. What fun we had! Everyone who could play a guitar or accordion brought an instrument along. With Swiss yodeling, Bavarian, and Italian songs, the music went on sometime into the late hours. Max loved it and joined in with his clarinet. The evening Stein was there, I suggested that Max play some of the Norwegian songs he'd learned. It was a great hit. The year following, when Bonnie was at ski tip, we were hoping that Stein might come back. One day, before supper, Bonnie called to me. Guess what, Edna? Someone calling himself Stein Erikson phoned today. He asked to reserve a room during the ski instructor's meeting. Well, I asked, what did you tell him? Tell him, she answered. When he said the second time he was Stein Erikson, I said, you're kidding, and then hung up. After reaching Stein in Aspen and apologizing for Bonnie's behavior, he just laughed, assuring me he'd be over for more Norwegian singing. It was much easier for the guests to wait on themselves when it came to buying postcards and stamps. We kept the stamps in a wooden cup on the shelf in the dining room next to the postcards. With change left in the cup, they would buy stamps and cards, putting the money in the cup and making their own change. My cook took me aside one day and confided, I think you better talk to Bonnie. She loves Coca-Cola, as you know, but she takes a dime out of the stamp cup and buys her Coke with it. This was in the days when you got a large Coke out of our pop machine for a dime. We had to buy the machine, and it was supposed to pay for itself with all the dimes put in. But by the time it was paid for, the Cokes were costing us 15 cents, and the guests had to pay only a dime. I knew Bonnie was honest and asked her about it. But Edna, she exclaimed, you get the dime back when you empty the coin box. The guests loved Bonnie. I soon realized it'd be easier on me if Bonnie would collect their bills, which I made out the night before they checked out. One morning, as she was rushing around making beds, I saw a $20 bill sticking out of her moccasin. On my pointing it out to her, she took her moccasin off. Inside was all the money and checks which she had collected that morning. I haven't had time to run down to the basement yet, she explained, to put it all in the safe behind the furnace. We were never a penny short. I guess those moccasins are as safe as anything else around here, I laughed as I took off her ski school. Why don't you and Max advertise as a bloody matrimonial bureau, one guest remarked to us. You'd certainly do a lot better profit-wise, that is, he added. We had just arrived at his home in Chicago to attend the wedding of one of our ski bums from the winter past. She was marrying one of the ski instructors. It was fun going to all those weddings. I had second thoughts one fall when a parent called us. Our second daughter wants to come out and ski bum for a winter. He added, if this one gets married too, it'll be the end of our long friendship. Fortunately, the second daughter's marriage was also a happy one, and we are still good friends. If today we were hosts at Ski Tip, we'd be skiing with our grandchildren. Larry Jump brought Bernie Pomagalski down to Ski Tip one day early in the season. Bernie, a 19-year-old French boy, could not speak more than a half dozen words in English. We needed a dishwasher, and Bernie was willing to be one for room and board. During the day, he would help out at the ski area. His father, Jean Pomagalski, had sold a Pama ski lift to Arapahoe. Bernie was a charming young bull in a china cabinet shop. The daily crash from the kitchen, and the guests would smile. Bernie broke another dish. When they teased him about it, he would say, I don't understand you. The kitchen crew was fast teaching him their brand of English. Bernie had been on the French national junior ski team. He was one of the first skiers we had seen who could vadel down the slopes in beautiful style. One evening, a guest came running into the living room from the hall of the old wing, shouting, "There's a bear standing near our window." We all rushed to the room. Looking out the window, we saw a young black bear standing next to a pine tree. He looked as frightened as we. "I catch this bear." Bernie came running around the corner from the kitchen. "I catch this cute bear." "Don't you dare go near that bear. Get back in the kitchen." I realized when I went into the kitchen that there were cheese plates sitting out cooling for our usual evening party. Wanting to make sure Bernie obeyed me, I returned to the kitchen. There was such a commotion at the outside door. Bernie had put on a big parka with fur hood, leather mittens, and ski goggles. "Now I catch this bear," he announced. I caught the tail end of the parka. Petunia came to help, and we pulled Bernie back into the kitchen. "It's an order, Bernie," I emphatically stated. "Absolutely no catch this bear." Looking over to the pine tree, I saw the frightened bear climbing the tree as fast as he could. We were all safe. For several years in the spring, George and Patty Nelson would come down from their Lutsen resort in Minnesota to stay at Ski Tip and attend the annual ski instructors clinic. Both became certified ski instructors. No wonder that their daughter Cindy became a member of the U.S. Olympic team. The spring that Bernie was with us, the Nelsons invited him to come up and work at their resort on Lake Superior. Returning in the fall, Bernie related to us his beautiful summer at Lutsen. "Only one thing I was not happy with," he told us. "I cannot have a whole pie like Petunia let me have here. Pet, she always baked me a whole pie just for me." Had I known, he would not have had a whole pie at Ski Tip either.